Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Hello, everyone. I think the message over the past couple of days has been not really expecting to do a hell of a lot here in the market until we get beyond this U.S. tax filing deadline date, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like the 15th, which is a weird date, but really they did that so that, I think they give everybody until Monday to actually pay the bill. Stock settlement is 3-day settlement. So, if you are going to be selling stock to pay your tax bills, that's probably why we're seeing a lot of selling pressure here now. Once we get beyond this window, though, probably into the end of the weekend, I'd be curious to see if there's much follow through. And then, of course, we have the big sort of May monthly options expiry coming up on the 21st. Usually, a lot of people, buy when it snows, sell when it goes, sell in May and walk away. A lot of people use this May expiry as their sort of exit window. So it might be interesting to see what the open interest is on options for that. Interesting how US dollar index coming right back down and filling in this gap smartly, 88.6 tag, and then reversing right off of that low. Wow, what a cool level. It's kind of ironic, hindsight 2020. Even up top here, we were kind of like, well, I bet, I could see this thing come back down, fill in the gap, but I'm not going to do anything. And you just watch your equity melt away. Should I? But anyway, still on the calls, not really in a hurry to do anything here. And ironically enough, the market feeling optimistic into this seasonal peaking window, the beginning of May. This chart actually is kind of normal. And we should see, I suppose the technical thing would be something like maybe a nice little fractal here, and then we turn back up and resume this bull market. We'll see. You can see how even before drawing that, I'm looking for some sort of pivot through here. Not really any new trade per se, other than had I taken profits on US dollar longs, I'd be seriously thinking about reloading on those positions now. Also some of the international currencies like the Canadian dollar, I can't explain why it's so strong other than this propensity to inflation and people thinking that commodity prices are just going to explode higher, which, to a certain degree they are. Stock market doing that sort of tax driven selling kind of event kind of thing here. Yeah, I could see that. And it looks like it's continuing. In small caps, I don't see any bottom here yet. There are specialty situations. We got off a really nice double today. It's bizarre how they just sort of, I think I've talked to you guys before about, stock pickers markets. So I don't know why. What the hell was that one thing? CIRL? I think that's what it was. CURL?
CRIS. Or yeah,
CRIS?
CRIS.
CRIS. Is that it? Maybe. Curious. Yeah, there it is. This one popped nicely for us today, and it happened to come into another double level for me. So got off a nice fill on this bad boy here today. I kind of fat fingered this trade. I mean, I killed it. This is where I bought it down here. I mean, this is ridiculous, eh? Kind of screwed up the trade here. Sold half on a 3x. Way to go, Brian. You're awesome. Then I sold more here. I'm not quite sure why I sold more there. But anyway, back on this sort of sell have on double train. I noticed that what I had left on the books, double that purchase price was today's price. So I let him some more go here. But specialty situation. I mean, the broader stock market does not look like this whatsoever. Is not doing these higher highs and higher lows. Broader market kind of looks like shit right now, to be honest with you. And it actually looks extremely risky. We were just simply going through the video today. Wednesdays, we have Kevin come on the Daily Brief, talk a little bit to the audience. We have a cool stock pickers club that meets Tuesday evenings. So lots of ideas we sort of kick around there. and Kevin comes on the call, the daily brief on Wednesdays, and just sort of reviews some of that stuff. I suppose just drawing some simple fibs here, you can see we have a 38.2 against these lows here, that key low right there. So, we often say look left. So we should have seen some key support against these lows. They're sort of breaking through that. If they really want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, you can see this is all open air here. This could get really dangerous. And we always say, and Kevin even mentioned it in the video today, just to remind people that at any given point in time, you should expect to see 38.2s. So that's where it is right now. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'll tell you, all of the backdrop, whether it be, hey, we got runaway inflation. Is the Fed going to do anything to try and save the currency? Well, maybe they'll have to raise interest rates to try and bring the commodity inflation back into check. Well, that's not bullish for stocks. I can tell you that's for sure. Okay, well, the democratically elected politician is standing up there saying, you know what? We need higher tax rates. We need more government in your life. I can tell you, that kind of backdrop, that's not bullish for stocks. So they always say there's two things that drive stocks, earnings and interest rates. And both of them are under question right now. Well, it's so sad. And I have a funny feeling this might happen here, which is really going to suck horse cocks for these people. But, some people that came in and chased the market last year and just thinking that stock markets just always go up, they didn't really start paying attention to the stock market until here. And their only experience in the stock market is this 1 year up. Well, I hate to say it, folks. That's a V bottom. There's lots of gaps down there. I wouldn't be surprised, to be perfectly honest with you, and it's, of course, going to drive everybody crazy, but I really would not be surprised if we actually replicate this entire range going the other direction. I mean, there's a horribly controversially awful thing to say, right? Oh, Brian, shut your goddamn mouth. But it really wouldn't surprise me. Oops, what happened there? Oh, that chart was looking so cool. Let's see if we can do that again. Come on, baby. Boom. Boom. There we go. Something like that. That would not surprise me one bit. Wouldn't that just destroy the public? Oh, they just die 1,000 deaths. I mean, no offense. Like watching that Saturday Night Live episode this past weekend, that was just 100% fluff. I couldn't believe how incredible. Even the jokes were fluff. They really weren't that great. This whole society smacks of fake. It's plastic. It's like you tap on it, it could easily crack. I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen, but wouldn't that be so cool? I would be really pleased if I saw something like that. Because what this would say is, hey, at least we're trying to bring the economy back into line, trying to bring, sort of a sense of responsibility to things like monetary policy and tax policy and government spending, and quit with all this nonsense that we've been living in for the past 10 years. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting path ahead of us. Of course, is it in your best interest to get into the business of predicting the future? Probably not. And of course, if this kind of scenario played out, it probably would mean that the banksters actually get religion and quit diluting the purchasing power of the currency to stabilize things. I don't think they're going to do that because they don't want to take the loss on their own bank stock. So I doubt this plays out, but it would actually make me very happy if we did see that kind of a negative Nelly kind of statement. Of course, the irony of it all is I still think the cost to mine a Bitcoin somewhere between 5 and 10 grand. So if Bitcoin did exactly the same thing and came right back down to $3,000 or $4,000 through the next year in total economic chaos, it wouldn't surprise me as well. Of course, again, you guys do not want to hear that kind of message. I doubt it'll happen. because, as I said, it would mean that the banksters are actually held to account for the fraud that they've pulled off here, and I don't think that they will be. They will keep diluting, they will keep propping, they will keep Japanificating. That's my forecast. But anyway, kind of a rant. Yeah, I guess you guys have got to come to custom. You're going to listen to Brian. You're probably going to hear a rant or two every day through the next year. Ay, 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 ay. So stocks getting whacked. Interesting to see. Oil inventories came out. Not really overly bullish or bearish. But interesting to see oil catching a bid here. Doesn't make any sense at all. Other than, this whole sort of the currency is worthless. Commodity prices have to be revalued higher to just simply reflect the worthlessness of the currencies. Bonds getting hit hard. Why? Because we're now actually seeing the actually government reported inflation statistics showing very large jumps in reported inflation rates. I've made the argument now basically the next probably 35 years, we should be expecting higher interest rates, not lower interest rates. Short-term interest rates, if we start getting into a situation where these fiat currencies actually start collapsing and they have to defend them in the marketplace by rising their short-term interest rates, that would be a really fascinating twist. And that's actually what should happen. That's what happened in the early 80s, which killed the Canadian economy. And I tell you, I look out this window, there is no logic whatsoever as to why they keep building buildings here in Vancouver. This is the market, in my opinion, acting illogical far longer than anybody can remain solvent. And one day these people are going to wake up and they've got a massive crisis on their hands. I don't understand why they just keep building here. There's nobody, now there's no tourism industry. Is the tourism industry all of a sudden going to just rebound violently? I don't know. Anyway, maybe. Yeah, I guess that's the bet, eh? So, bonds weak, gold, I think, gold and silver and a lot of the metals revaluating higher based on now inflation data, government reported inflation data coming in strong. Interesting how even just in our modern day here, 21st century, only $1,800 an ounce for gold. That's still relatively low, I would think. So Kevin actually shared a really cool astrological chart that one of our members found, and it kind of suggested, I can't comment on price, but something along the lines of something like that. And I'd have to agree with that. I do like that. And I do like sometime this fall, the rubber is going to hit the road. I think that the floor is going to fall out from underneath these international markets. And I think it's going to be interest rate driven. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But for the time being, the metals market's got a bit of a wind behind its back. Some of the little junior mining stocks look a lot of fun. In fact, I think I got off a double on that medical stock, but some of my mining stocks are starting to perk up. They're getting close to double levels. No real fills here yet. The broader sort of junior market, nothing really to get excited about. No W's yet. Crypto, it's interesting. I did actually get a double off on crypto earlier this morning. This really surprised me a bit. Which one was that? Kusama. This one spat out another double level. So you never know in this crazy space when they're going to pop. This one, actually that's versus dollar versus BTC. Got another fill level up top here. So I was super stoked about that. That was a bit of a surprise here this morning, considering the way the rest of the risk market is getting whacked. But if anything, gee whiz, what a great commentary on DeFi. It's also this fun story, Aave, where I traded this versus USD, but it was like Tether on Binance. And this move down here stopped me out when I was on vacation. But at the same time, too, I was running an accumulation plan versus Bitcoin on Trex. And this one, actually, you can see where my double level is. So it just goes to show million different ways to skin the cat, million different ways to make money from trading. In this particular case, the leverage trade got flushed out. The dollar cost averager is kicking ass. That's the way it goes. So I can't complain. Got nothing to complain there. And you can see I'll get pretty close where I might actually have to start doing some selling. That's not supposed to happen in a bear market. What the fuck? I don't know. Crazy. Look at little Geo. I mean, not really a bear. I mean, not really a screaming bull either. But hey, at least we're close to W's here. That's versus the Bitcoin chart. If you're going to look at value, I think you probably should look at versus USD or Euro or whatever. So, this is the kind of one where I want to be a buyer down here. But, don't chase, work your stink bids, reload zones. You could be joining me now on this. It's up to you, right? And you're going to see if this thing gets its act together. Look out. I think I told you Ubic is sort of the same kind of story. Not allowed to chase, but you want to work your stink bids. Now, this next month or two is the window where I think you can get these really cool fills. Generally speaking, a bit of red in the crypto space. Not going to sugarcoat it. Doge, I mean, to be perfectly frank with you, it looks to me like Doge is having a very, very tough time holding this level. I doubt it holds. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to come all the way back down here. That really wouldn't surprise me one bit. I don't really want to sell because this is that 7-year accumulation plan. So, I mean, do I really want to get wrapped up in a few months back and forth here? Or do I just want to stick to my sell have on a double strategy, which I think I'm going to do? And that means I've got, orders to sell, next have on a double is just a little bit higher. I didn't get those fills, but shit happens. And I'll just be patient. And then, like I said, if we do get up into the next double level way up here, then I'll let the big bags go. Because you might as well get paid a big chunk of money for being in this shit. I mean, if I let all the bags go here, I mean, it's an okay payday, but I mean, what the fuck? I mean, it doesn't cost us anything just sitting on these. And if anything, I think it was like Gemini is saying, hey, we'll pay you a rate of return. Come and stake your Dogecoin. So I don't know what to do, but not really motivated to do one thing or another, to be honest with you. Man, you can see, some up, some down, some in, some out. Interesting, like the corn itself, not really, it's the same thing I said like months ago. Sure looks to me like a big old fat trading range and a distribution. So, smart money accumulates when, of course, the public has no interest in this stuff. Let's go here. Down in here, they distribute it to the public. Your your granny, your Aunt Gertie. Sam, how do I buy Bitcoins? Have you ever heard of this thing called Bitcoin, Sonny? Yeah, how do I get in? All right, well, that's the distribution phase of these bull and bear markets. Can we distribute and not break down and actually start to paint like 3 higher lows, justifying thinking more bull market down the road? Maybe. But this is definitely distribution. As it stands right now, right? New high, new low. So we got one new high, one new low. And we're just sitting basically above middle of the trading range. Nothing really to get excited about one way or the other. If we had, especially if you look at this thing like on log scale, it's probably a little easier to see. Come on, you. Oops. If you do that and you have one little thing on the chart, though, it kind of screws it up. Anyway, there we go. Ideally, and really this is an interesting battle point. You can see how, and I think I had it on this chart, right? A, B, C, D. So technically, if this thing acted sort of normal, this is what we should see. All right, pull back down into here. And interestingly enough, this will be a really good commentary on how technically strong this market actually is. Can we pull back against these lows and fight this overall harmonic pattern, hold these lows down in here, and turn back up. It'll be an interesting battle, especially given the amount of tax-driven selling going on in the States right now, and any other countries that happen to have their tax deadline here, the middle of May. So, I've been sort of saying, and you guys have been hearing me, Bitcoin very rarely does well through my birthday. So, I think this year is just par for the course, nothing really out of the ordinary. And if anything, just try not to get sucked into the emotion of all this. I mean, they get so bloody emotional about risking their money. And really, what I want you to learn how to do is get rid of that emotion. Stop being emotional with your money and just start being very systematic. Well, I like the idea, so I'm going to force myself to step in and buy against lows. I'm not going to take too much risk. If the market starts moving in my favor, I'm going to be selling against highs and paying myself for my hard work. So probably till the end of the week, at the absolute minimum, we should see some weakness in price. And really, to be perfectly honest with you, usually I don't see the market really ultimately bottom until this end of June, all the way out here. So I wouldn't even be surprised if we have sort of like softness into this weekend, then a week or two of reprieve. We do have options expiry coming up, big options, monthly options expire. So there's probably some shenanigans around that. But a little bit of a reprieve following that, sort of dead cat bounce, relieve all the oversoldness, all that. Then another wave lower through sort of mid-June kind of idea into this month end. And then this ultimately marks our seasonal bottom. So there's not really a hell of a lot of hurry here, one way or the other. All right, so there's your happy, joy report. Bang out doubles where you can get them. But don't chase. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. New school term started, so rock and roll students make me proud. Kevin did an awesome job presenting today, so thank you so much, sir, for that. PMA for the win. All the best. And Kevin, if you could take us on out of here. The only thing left for me to say here is a big bye for now.